Is Zoom the holiday thing now? Joining us now is family physician and associate professor at Rowan University, Dr. Jen Caudle. Dr. Caudle, thanks for joining us today.
Of course, it's great to be here.
So here we are, Halloween already canceled in LA. Is this just the beginning of what's to come for the holiday season?
Well, that's a really great question. Unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball. We don't have a crystal ball about that. A number of things can happen. And if we go back in time a little bit and think back to the 1918 flu pandemic, things actually got worse then in the fall. Now, it's not to say that that's what's going to happen now during the COVID pandemic, but what it means is we don't know what's going to happen, period, as we get into sort of the winter months. I do think that it's going to be local, state, city governments that are going to be determining what families and kids are able to do. But the real priority here, especially since we're in the middle of a pandemic, is really keeping kids and families safe.
Halloween is big around my house. Do you think it's just safer to say, hey, this is one year, we just take it off?
I think in some cases that may be the right thing to do. I think it's going to depend on a number of variables, from where you live, what the transmission rate of COVID is in your region, maybe what the risks are of the child and the family who is interested in trick-or-treating, right? How the trick-or-treating is actually done. Is it done in a socially distanced way? Is it safe? If kids are wearing masks and hand washing and hand sanitizing. There's a number of variables that I think are going to go into whether communities actually choose to do trick-or-treating or not, and how, if so. And that's why I say, as time goes on, we'll probably have a better idea, but time will tell.
Well, that leads us to the second leg of Holiday Corner, which is Thanksgiving. It's one of the most popular holidays. Families get around, they get cozy, they get warm, they're watching games. Should we avoid that, considering we typically have older family members?
Now, Dr. Ian, I have to be honest with you. I know that my parents actually told my brother and I that we are not doing in-person holidays, that we're only doing a Zoom holiday. They told us this months ago. So unfortunately, but I do understand, we're not going to be experiencing the holidays in person. But I do tell, and for other people who are thinking about it, if you actually choose to spend the holiday with other people, there are things you can do. Things like quarantining before and after visiting others, getting a COVID test before you go. Things like obviously wearing a mask when you're around others, and don't go to big gatherings. That's going to be really important. And I also say during the family meal, rather than eating inside, if you can take it outside, if it's not too cold, that would be ideal. Use single serving dishes instead of using serving plates that are shared amongst people. And even though it's not a lot of fun, consider washing your own dishes, your own plates and stuff, just to sort of lower the idea and the risk of transmission. But masks still have to be a must, disinfecting, washing hands, and of course, getting our flu shot, which we've talked about.
The third leg and last leg, of course, of the Holiday Corner, Christmas and New Year's, over 45 million fly for these big holidays.
Right.
So should people book or not book?
One thing that's really good is that the CDC does say that viruses and germs do not spread as easily on flights because of how the air is circulated and filtered on flights. So that's a good thing. And call ahead to the airline. Find out what the airline is doing to keep people safe. I mean, many airlines are keeping the middle seat open. That's a good thing. And I also say, pick the seat that's closest to the window as opposed to the aisle so that you're not in contact with people that are going up and down the aisle. I also say things like get your disinfectant wipes and wipe down those countertops and the rails, and don't use the countertops on planes if you don't have to. Really important. Bring your own food so you don't have to stop at vending machines in restaurants and things of that nature. And very quickly, I would also say shorter flights are safer than longer flights, and traveling during off-peak hours can be very helpful. And finally, keeping that 6-foot distance, even when you're in places like the baggage claim, et cetera, is going to be important.
Well, Dr. Caudle, thanks for all the great information and breaking it down for us. And even though you're Zooming with your parents, I'm sure they're going to be happy to see you.
Hopefully. Thank you.